When might you use a right of residence in your will? There are two common scenarios that arise where they might exist. The first would be a scenario where there are adult children of a person or a couple who are making a will, and they might have adult children and some are still living at home, not quite financially independent, maybe not in a relationship, while other children of the family are independent, are married, have their own home. In those circumstances, a lot of parents wish ultimately for all of the children to inherit absolutely the house, the family home, which is the main asset, but want to protect the adult children who still live at home. So most parents would express a concern that they don't want an adult child who lives at home removed from the family home too soon. So what I always advise is that nothing is going to happen very soon after a person passes, in terms of probate, in terms of property being sold or the estate distributed. The approximate time frame would be at least 9 months before an estate would be distributed from the date of death. By the time a death certificate is obtained, valuations are obtained, an application is submitted to the probate office, possibly a house is sold, or legal title is transferred. But separate and apart from that, parents often express a concern that they would like to give adult children who live in the family home some security, some more long-term security, medium-term security in the home, before it is being sold and absolutely transferred then or split into shares between all of the adult children. So in those circumstances, granting a right of residence to the adult children who live in the home for a year or 2 years is a mechanism whereby you can ensure that they can remain in the family home for some time after the will is valid. The will can't have a clause whereby it says the house cannot be sold, but the workaround for that is this right of residence. And a lot of parents would come in with those kind of instructions. We don't want the house sold too soon. So while the will won't explicitly have those words, the workaround is granting a right of residence for those children who still live at home. The will has to be specific. So you will have to decide, the time frame for the right of residence that person can have. Another similar circumstance where a right of residence might be useful is in second relationships. So whether a couple is now married or cohabiting, having previously been married, or in a relationship where property was owned or there was children from another relationship, what often happens is that in the second relationship, one person owns the property. Possibly previously they both owned a property and one sold a house, and now one person in the couple is the registered and sole owner of the home, but wants to grant security but not ownership to their partner or their spouse now. A lot of people, when they come into their second relationship, want to ensure that their house and their assets goes to their children only, and similarly the agreement is that their new spouse or new partner leaves their assets to their children in circumstances where there are no shared children. And in those circumstances, it can be very useful to grant that partner or that spouse who's not an owner of the house a right of residence for their lifetime. So they have the security of knowing that their home is there for them. They don't have ownership, but they have the legal right to live in the house for their lifetime. And the house would then be transferred absolutely under the terms of the will to the owner's children, absolutely.